Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Yggdrasil, and welcome back to another YouTube chat. Now, it's been quite a while since I've done one of these, and 99% of you probably don't even know what this is about, considering the last time I think was in April or some such, and we only had like some 20 subscribers at that time. So most of you have no clue what this space is about. So this is the kind of space where I want to get away from the script talk that sounds just a little too formal, and this is a kind of zone where I want to just talk with you guys in a more natural setting and give you thoughts about what's going on, just with regards to my expectations towards the game this time around, but also in general. I like to update you guys with what's going on in life through these accounts, through these chats, and that's again what this purpose of the video is going to be. So again, please bear with me. You can see I'm not the best with words in a more unscripted setting, so please just bear with me. And I want to use this video to quickly talk about my plans leading up to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and playing the game, as well as some of my final hopes and predictions for the game. So firstly, we are less than 2 weeks away from the game coming out on June 29. Excuse me, July 29. So with that going on, and we are just so close to the release, I don't think it would be best for me to make another kind of large video like the ones I've been doing recently, since maybe the combat one. And again, I want to quickly take this time to also thank all of you so very much, because the sheer growth was unprecedented for this channel. This channel's just a complete passion project, and honestly, seeing so many people just so interested in the videos, especially the last one, because I was so certain with the preview embargo for the first part of the game coming out, I was so certain that so many people weren't going to watch it. So seeing that one explode and bring a lot of people into the to see it and interested in my content, like, you guys all rock. Thank you so much for just trying, or not trying, but finding an interest in it, and some of you choosing to stick around. Thank you very much. That being said, this channel is a passion project, so posting videos is sort of erratic. I still don't know if Xenoblade's going to be a niche for me, or if it's going to turn to my whole channel, because I just want to use this channel as a space to talk about what I find important or think interesting, or it's just something I just want to express to you guys. So with that being said, again, this is just a passion project. It is just for fun. So what I want to do for fun on release day of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is stream the game. So you can see this whole setup that I've got listed for you guys. So over there's the main screen for the game. Up above me is going to be where YouTube comments will appear, because I am going to be streaming this on YouTube on day one when the game is out. I ordered a special edition. I was lucky enough to be one of the few to get that. So whenever that gets in, I will play it. But I swear if it gets delayed, I am so ready to just go to a retailer, pick up a copy, and then like make sure there's like a 1-week refund policy and just change that out later. But I am playing that game day one regardless. Now with that said, there are a few rules to the chat. Only two, so please bear with me. It's simply be respectful above all else, because I know that the Xenoblade community is incredibly fearful of getting spoiled, but I also trust the community internally. I mean, this is the community that has the unspoken rule of 7 in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, for example. So I trust the community. Just please be respectful to one another. Please be respectful of our wishes not to spoil one another on content. I'm going to be changing I think you can see it right there, the title to show whatever the latest chapter is. So that way it's like, if you see chapter 3 on my video and you're on chapter 1, please do not watch my stream. We're all playing this game at the same time. I'm doing it for fun. That's literally it. If you join in, please join in. Please have a good time. But if it's not at a chapter that you're in, or you want the story hidden for you, please get the hell out and dodge. So that's it. The other thing, again, with spoils, if it hasn't happened on my screen, it hasn't happened in the game. It hasn't happened for me. It hasn't happened for anyone else. So please just be very mindful coming into this chat and talking about things that people may regard as spoilers, especially for myself. So with that all said, I will be streaming on the 29th. I think I do have work that day, but hopefully that should give it time for the special edition to come in. So I'm not all too worried. I get a late start. It's whatever. I'll be going dark on this channel from here on out until the game releases, and then we'll stream at release day. And I'll be going dark on Twitter to make sure I don't get spoiled. So sorry if you see things slow down there as the days wind by. Now with all that said, and I'm sorry for that huge intro, I just wanted to get stuff across. I want to talk about a few key points of my hopes and predictions for the game. Oh geez, a lot of stuttering, I'm so sorry. Anyway, difficulty, de-leveling, and patches are my 3 hopes. So let's talk about those 3 very quickly. So difficulty, we have easy, normal, hard, but I really want to see and hope for a sort of style that they brought in Xenoblade 2 later on in that game's life cycle. So we got a large slider where we could adjust the difficulty, or the scaling on our attacks, the enemy's attacks, our HP, etc. Everything related to combat, we could adjust. And that brought out the Bringer of Chaos mode, for example, where all the difficulty on the mobs is scaled to the max, and all the scaling for the players is brought down to the lowest denominator. I want to see stuff like that beyond just easy, normal, hard. I feel like hard may be a challenge the first time around, but I'm worried in New Game Plus, for example, that that's just not going to be an issue because we know what the game's about and we know how to work around things. So then that also leads into de-leveling, the second thing I want to talk about. So this is a common question that was asked. A few people verified there is no de-leveling because we can level up at campsites, but when you click level up, you cannot level back down. So on the topic of de-leveling, it was a New Game Plus only feature that happened the first time after you beat the game in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I really wish that was sort of something that stuck and was put into the base game as well the first time you played around with it. But my hope is, at the very least, it shows up in New Game Plus, or it gets brought up later on in a patch, because the whole purpose of de-leveling was to make the gameplay feel a little more interactive, and also allow players to cheese or set up things like trying to fight bosses on the lowest with the lowest possible resources available in terms of your leveling and stats. So those are all the things I want to see. You can also people would also mess around with gems or gear sets and just test out scaling and stuff. De-leveling is just a larger quality of life feature than simply leveling down to a lot of people. So I want to see that brought back in. Now I mentioned in patches, so that's the next thing. The quality of life patches that 2 had were absolutely phenomenal. Bar the Ardanian soldiers nerf. Rip those guys, we never forget our boys. So with all that said, I do want to see and hope for quality of life patches. They were very consistent in 2, and with the DLC, we know at least that there are 4 segments of patches planned out to roll in the DLC. But during Xenoblade Chronicles 2 production, they also had these quality of life features that were free, thrown in and added into the game. So I want to see that brought back from 2 into 3, and I fully expect that they will. So hopes quickly done. I'm going to burst through some of my predictions. There's a super long one at the end. The first one is simply I hope for flying. We've seen machines that look almost like the Lost Number ships being used for not surfing. Oh gosh. We just ships going out through the water. We've seen them going in and around. So I hope to see flying brought as well. We've seen the Lost Number ships fly as well. And so I hope that that also is a feature, because this game has a lot of verticality. Heck, we've even seen floating islands. Some of them look very large, and I don't know how we would reach them, or if we're meant to reach them. I assume we are, just given the shape and the structure of some of these formations just floating out. So I assume and hope for that flying will be a endgame feature. Maybe we unlock it in the second third of the game, towards the latter half. That's what I would hope for, because it adds to the strength of this world being built on the bodies of dead titans. You know, it's not all flat land. It's scaled up and just You know, more Ardain. It's an incredibly vertical titan, for example. The ruins of Mykonos, the ruins of Bionis, from what we saw in 1, were not so as much, but who knows? There could be some structures. I would, for example, love to see the top of the Mykonos sword if we could fly up there after the game, or like towards the end of the game, and there's just something up there that's like a nice little feature that you cannot find without flying. And these games are huge enough, so I really hope that flying will be a feature that we can control, and it's not simply a case of an NPC will teleport us to a location or some such. So then next, I want to talk about some zones that we could see returning. So because of the ruins of Mortha and the return of the Danag Desert from Torna, I predict we will also see the ruins of the World Tree, because there's no way the entire Morthan the structures of Mortha, almost not as degraded as in 2, but they look a little more fresh in a sort of way, and maybe that could have just been the world fusion at play. But I want to see the base of the World Tree as a feature as well. I don't know why we can't have immovable structures such as Mortha and the deceased Tornan Titan, which got a whole makeover because the Danag Desert is fresh and almost revitalized. If we can have those two, I have no clue why we cannot have the base of the World Tree as a zone. Maybe there's like a hidden Adenine reference in there for people who played her story in 2. And maybe, who knows, we could see other dead titans as well. So I would love, if that's the case, I would love to see ruins of Judicium or ruins of Sia. So that could be pretty cool stuff that I would hope to see. And now for my biggest prediction. This is I predicted the start of the game, and then the embargo came out before I was able to make the prediction, but that turned out as well as I thought. So cheers for me. But with the biggest prediction that I want to make in the game is the fog, because why have Future Connected bring in the fog beasts, and then everything we see regarding to 3 so far has not brought up the fog beasts? Or has it? Because I swear there is dark fog in almost all of the clips we've been shown. It's been right in front of us the whole time, but it's very subtle, it's very not talked about. There are a few images that show a large dark fog, not a structure. There's just a large dark fog gathering over the ocean adjacent to the Capricorn Peak. We saw it in the image where they were fighting a monster out at sea. And then with the Capricorn Peaks footage that we saw, especially from the live gameplay presentation from France, I believe 2 days ago as of recording this, there was a huge dark fog over there as well. So where does this lead into is my prediction is that both colonies are working together, obviously, in some sort of way to maintain the way of the shape of the world, the way the way the world works, excuse me. So what I think is happening is soldiers are grown. It's sort of a rapid ether development or rapid life energy development. That's the other thing. I sort of think that life energy is some advanced form of ether because everyone has it. It's an easy resource. It's life energy in its own way. But regardless, the life energy of the flame clocks that these soldiers have, these soldiers are grown as very quick batteries. They are highly reproducible. They carry flame clock energy with them. So they're very easy to produce, and they're very easy in the state of the war to kill one another and dispense all the life energy they have. So both nations use the Pharaonis to collect this energy, this life energy, and they will be both pumping it into some sort of device or MacGuffin that is funneling the life energy in a way that holds back the fog beasts that we've been seeing. And as our group goes around liberating the colonies, fighting against the system that's set in place, we begin to unravel the state of Ionios inadvertently, and this allows the fog beasts or whoever controls the fog beasts to gain more sway in reality. So that is my prediction when it comes to the sort of like end game, or like not even the end game. This could be middle of the game, because we don't know a lot of things. Most of the stuff we've been shown has been from a Kavessian perspective. there's very little stuff that we've seen from the Agnes culture, or even their perspective. Heck, we only seen Nia, or like, what, 2 or 3 times, and she's only had 2 lines this entire time. And I know that's not much less than supposedly Melia, but you know, it just goes to show we've only had mostly a Kavessian perspective, Noah's perspective, not really on Mio's or anyone else's. So there's still quite a lot we've not seen or heard about, or just are out of the loop purposefully, which I'm very grateful, because I was worried there would be a lot of repeats with 2's production and teaser cycle, but thankfully that's not entirely been here in 3, and I hope that trend continues as the game progresses and the DLC hits and all of that. So with that, I just want to leave you guys with one last prediction. It is the most surefire prediction that I can make, and that is the game will be good. And I'm not memeing here, the game will be good. All of the previews that we've been shown so far, every single organization that had a chance to preview the game, they all said that the game went well beyond their expectations. Even the dodgy ones like IGN and GameSpot and GameXplain, rip Walmart Tyon, or Tyon is Walmart Joker, throw that in the bin, that one's garbage. But everything else, in my opinion, the fact that they all have said pretty good things about the game this early on, it's dark, it's grim, it hooks you, the plot's there, there's no semi-horny fan service humor as there was in 2, so that grips people in more with the more toned down characterization and the grim theme. I think all of that plays really well into the strengths of what the game will offer. And the game will offer a lot because, unlike 2, which is a phenomenal game, but it's a slightly undercooked game, as many people will attest, between tutorials, the way some clips look, its functioning in a handheld mode. There's quite a few things that you can talk about too. You can love 2, but even loving 2, you have to admit there's things that are undercooked. Some things in the affinity chart, they have to be data mined. The talents again, I talked about it, but the tutorials were very undercooked and very misleading to a lot of players, making them feel that the game was naturally slow. And then we had to go and do things like spam reset the auto attacks and go all in on energy recharge, just a few things like that. But the gripes with 2 aside, 2 was phenomenal for the fact that it had such a small team work on the game, because they were working on Breath of the Wild, they were working on Splatoon, they were getting shifted left and right. And not only since the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but since then we've had Monolith Soft, I think it's over 300 staff now working at Monolith Soft, almost full-time, and small swaths of that are what is shifted around into other teams. But with Splatoon 3 already seemingly done, because it has a date announced and all that, and the delay of the sequel to Breath of the Wild pushed back to 2023, these last few months have been so phenomenal that the game was pushed forward. That's something that you don't kind of see unless the developer themselves have such confidence in the quality of their game. And again, quality attesting to it, handheld mode works perfectly. The game is solid and stable. They've had time to adjust lip syncing for both English and Japanese dialogue. There's really just quite a lot of love and attention put into this game. The animations with the campsites are phenomenal. And that's something that you could only get if they have time to put into that. We could have had brooding in Torna, or like we did in Torna over the campsites, but we didn't. We have solid flowing animations, and everything just looks so well done. I cannot wait. That's my final prediction. The game will be good because I already know it is good. So that is where I want to leave you guys today. If you somehow stayed through all my rambling, I thank you guys very much. You can catch me here on the 29th, and I will be streaming the game in full, the entire thing start to finish. And if you want to join me for that, by all means, thank you very much, and have a great day.